All right, everyone. Now that we have practiced our texture from last week, we used our oil pastels to make some shape or line textures, and we went over our textures with a complementary color with watercolor paint. Now we're going to start to plan out our ideas for our Wild Thing monster. So you have two worksheets here. I've stapled a worksheet to the back of your texture worksheet. Now on the front of this texture worksheet, we have to answer some questions. So the first question here, it says, look at the illustrations from the book Where the Wild Things Are. What kinds of monster parts do you see, and write them here. Inside of your basket, you have lots of illustrations from the book Where the Wild Things Are and some other monster examples that I put inside. I want you to look at these monsters and tell me what kind of parts, animal parts, do you see in these monsters. So when I look at these monsters right here, I see, it kind of to me looks like a bear paw with some claws. So I might write for number one, bear paw and claws. Now I look at these monsters and I see some legs that look like they might be legs of a lizard. They look kind of scaly. So I'm going to put lizard legs. Now when I look at this monster in the corner, ooh, he's got some horns. He kind of looks like a bull. So I might say a bull head. Now maybe I will flip to a new page. Ooh, this looks like some new type of animals here. When I look at this monster, I see a bird beak. So I might say a bird beak. I can keep looking at these pictures and answer at least 5 different monster parts that I see. Now the next question here says, look at the texture examples from your baskets. What kinds of textures do you see, and write them here. So same thing, I'm going to look at my pictures from my baskets, find some examples. So maybe I'll pull out a random one, maybe this one. Now what kinds of textures do I see when I look at this picture? Well, first of all, I see lots of hair on this monster's body right here. So the first texture I could write here might be some rough hair. I could even draw a picture of some rough hair next to it. Okay, so now I can find a new texture. So maybe I'll flip my paper over. Ooh, I see a texture right here. I see some fish scales or lizard scales. So I'll say scaly. And I can even draw myself a picture so I know that this is scaly. Okay, now maybe I'll find a different picture. Maybe this picture right here. This monster kind of looks like an octopus, and it kind of looks scaly or bumpy. So I think this texture right here, I might say bumpy. And I can draw some little tiny circles very close together to tell myself that this is bumpy. Okay? So same thing, I'm going to keep going until I get at least 5 different textures that I see from my basket. Now when I finish that, obviously I've done my texture. I'm good with that part. Now the next page, we are going to next sketch some ideas of your monster that you want to draw. So we're going to use different animal body parts and include some textures for your monsters. So here's 3 boxes right here where you can try and sketch out a monster idea that you could draw later very, very big. So I don't have to do 3 sketches. I can just do 1 or 2 or all 3 if I really want to plan out my ideas. So I'll start with 1 box and start drawing some monster ideas. So I could start with the head of a monster. And maybe I want to do a big body, like maybe it's a bear monster. I could do some arms. Maybe I really like those bear paws with the claws, so I can do some of those.